Welcome back, everybody, to the Healthy Habit Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Dayan of Healthy Habit Medical Center. Thanks for tuning in with us here on episode 262. We're talking to the legend herself, Stacy Faulkner is back with us. We talked with her last on 259, where we discussed the high-speed communication network. Remember that, Stacy? We
Yes.
broke down high choline foods, Vita Choline, why it's the gold standard of choline. One of these new products here from Emerald Labs, the 550 milligram Vitacholine. We talked about how it's found in other Emerald Labs products as well. And then she gave us some final words of wisdom there regarding Vitacholine. Today, we're going to be discussing a mushroom focus memory blend here through Emerald Labs. So this is an important episode that you guys tuned into. People are always looking for memory and focus support. So we'll pull up a screen share here and go through the individual ingredients on that. But yeah, Stacy's worked in the natural health industry since 2000, and she's currently the National Educator at Emerald Labs. So we appreciate her coming on all these years to educate us. Stacy, welcome back.
Hello, good morning. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, and this is going to help a lot of people to start off with 2026. So, why did you choose to highlight memory and focus today? Why is that super important over at Emerald Labs? What have you been observing? Tell us about
So,
it.
so the thing is with the what's going on, I think, with so much environmental and oxidative damage and oxidative stress that's going on, I think people are having a harder time with their mood, having a harder time with focusing in their memory. So, with Emerald Labs, our formulas, Dr. Stangler, Dr. Mark Stangler, as you've met, is our formulator. And I think when he starts to see an uptick in his patients of stuff going on with even, mild cognitive decline in younger people, I think that becomes an issue. And so we've got a lot of these raw ingredients out here that have, intense clinical studies that are showing that certain ingredients that are, raw ingredients that when put together in a formula can really improve somebody's mood, memory, focus, cognitive ability overall, especially since they've got the human clinical studies behind them. So I think that's also, I wanted to talk about the mushroom memory and focus. It's fairly new for Emerald Labs, as well as since last time, we talked about the new vital choline, like you said, the information speedway, so acetylcholine. Um, and so this kind of is I think it's a very good parallel because of, looking at acetylcholine and the, um, the brain stacks that neurotransmitters, keeping those guys healthy, keeping the neurons really protected in the brain cells. We want more neurogenesis. We want to constantly be producing brain cells, etc. So I thought it was appropriate, just in case listeners are listening to stuff in a row,
Right.
that they could listen to the vital choline, then listen to today's, and then if that piques their interest, kind of see which one might be, best for them, or even come into healthy habits, talk to you guys, talk to Stan, the demo man,
Yeah.
and kind of figure out what might, if if someone's going to choose one, what might be a beneficial choice for them.
100%. Yeah, folks, I would listen to this. This episode's builds on top of 259 there about the Vita choline episode. I would listen to both of those back to back, 259, and then here 262 with Stacy Faulkner. And yeah, like you said, Stan the Demo Man, he's in house Tuesdays through Saturdays here at Healthy Habit. Go talk to him, and he's going to be demoing the Emerald Labs products here right inside Healthy Habit. Samples, literature, coupons, everyday low prices he has on all these products, and even the one that we're discussing here today with Stacy, the mushroom memory and focus support. So I'm going to do a screen share here in a moment, but let's dive right into it. Tell us about this product. This looks like it's one of the newer products at Emerald
It
Labs. Is that
is.
correct?
It is, and I think if somebody makes this decision to try this, that they will be pleasantly surprised with the focus. This only has three ingredients for the listeners to understand. They are all mushrooms, but we're using patented forms of these raw ingredients, these mushrooms. And so the first one is, people may be familiar with lion's mane. And so the lion's mane, it's got lion's mane, it's got oyster mushroom, and it's got reishi mushroom. And so the company that we're purchasing from is called Namex. And actually, I should talk to people about Namex because I printed up some stuff to discuss. Where did I put it? Um, it's got really high quality standardized testing. Um, And so basically, I think it's important that people understand that the mushrooms we're sourcing from, it's the patented name is Real Reishi and Real Lion's Mane. And so you can see here that you pulled up, it's an 8-to-1 ratio. And so we've broken it down with Emerald Labs, really showing the consumer about the beta glucan, um, uh, uh, the beta glucan amount that's in here, and also to note that these mushrooms grown or they're grown in China. Namix has been working with them for close to 30 years, and they grow on like a organic wood substrate
Uh-huh.
instead of in the United States, the mushrooms are usually grown on grain. And so this is an organic wood substrate. And I have all their testing because some people might like we understand that, the concerns about the quality of Chinese ingredients,
Right.
but China is responsible for 90% of the worldwide mushroom production. So they're doing it right. And so it's when something's going into supplementation, we're looking at an 8-to-1 ratio. That's a very high concentrate, and these are all the fruiting body. And so mushrooms' whole goal in their life is to grow, spread their mycelium, grow their fruiting body, and then open up and spread and release their spores. That's their whole goal, is to release their spores to replicate. And so when a mushroom is about ready to release its spores, that's called the fruiting body. So that's the whole body. So this is what we're using from Namix, the fruiting bodies, and then it talks about the beta glucans in here, and then about the milligrams if somebody really wants to get into that. So um, the crops are produced in greenhouses. The natural substrates, they're guaranteed at medicinal uh, proportions. Okay,
Mm.
um, fresh air and fresh water from deep wells, natural sunlight, harvested by hand and sun dried. Um, After harvest and before processing, every crop of mushroom is tested for possible chemical drift or any other contamination. So this is really important. And so these are functional mushroom extracts. And if anybody wants to look up Namix, that this crops start with selected strains. They're developed that have been developed over centuries. 100% of the mushroom uh, research institute are engaged in continual research and development with the high yielding strains. So that's probably enough about that. But I just want
Uh-huh.
people to understand, like, this is a hardwood and sawdust environment where they're used, and so where they're grown instead of grain in the United States. So Namex is a really, really amazing company working with their partners in China for 30 years, and
Mm.
it's a very sustainable environment, and everything is tested over and over. And also, this is very important for some of the listeners. The
Yep.
CFR 111. This is how these Namix conducts personal visits and manufacturing audits at their foreign manufacturing facilities, which meets the U.S. FDA GMPs and also 21 CFR 111. So for me, um, just to note to the consumers, Emerald Labs, we manufacture all of our supplements from the FDA guidelines as well at
Right.
21 CFR 111. So that is what the FDA provides to us. And so really just I want people just to understand this is a very high quality company, Namix, and these are high quality uh, mushroom raw ingredients. So real
Interesting.
reishi, lion's mane, and golden oyster. So the common denominator, Dan, is
Yep.
the common denominator is that they're all antioxidants, they're all anti-inflammatories, they have neuroprotective qualities. They're rich in they're rich in polyphenols, they're rich in uh, uh, nerve growth factor. Um, so we're looking at increasing the neuron production in the brain. We're looking at increasing focus. So we're getting really involved in a lot of mushrooms these days as far as the rise of the functional mushrooms. So everybody's got something out there, it seems like, and so it's a very
Right.
competitive environment out there with um, mushroom supplementation. So I just want the listeners to understand that this are very high quality ingredients that we're using that are patented, they're registered, they're trademarked. Um, they've got human clinical studies on them, so the abstracts are really strong. And so basically, the functional mushroom complex that this is involving is high in polysaccharides, terpenoids, triterpenes, peptides, and so they contribute to immunomodulation, so protecting, the modulation of our immune response, antioxidant, like I just said, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and so these three ingredients are really revered for keeping the brain healthy and focused. So that's what we want, focus and memory, and also with our mood to be able to sustain the mood as well.
Yeah.
So lion's mane alone is a natural growth factor. It stimulates our natural growth factor, I mean. And so natural growth factor, for people that are unaware of that, is basically it's a crucial protein that supports the survival, growth, differentiation, maintenance of neurons, especially the cholinergic neurons in the cortex and the hippocampus, playing vital roles in learning, memory, and the plasticity, acting as a neuroprotective agent that helps neurons recover from injury and preventing, age-related disease.
Hmm.
So the key roles in the brain for the nerve growth factor would be neuronal survival and growth. So the nerve growth factor ensures the survival and development of specific neurons, particularly those using acetylcholine. So that's what the cholinergic, I have a hard time with that word,
Hmm.
cholinergic,
Yeah, it's a tough one.
cholinergic neurons in the forebrain, essential for cognitive function. Also, nerve growth factor is important for memory and learning. And also plasticity and repair. So it promotes the neurofiber and helps the brain cells recover after damage, specifically after strokes or injuries. And it's a neuroprotective as well. So neuroprotection, it protects the adult neurons from degeneration and supports overall neuronal health in the central nervous system. So basically, it binds to specific receptors on nerve cells. So it is an original member of the neurotropin family, and so it's really helpful for the health, growth, and function in both the peripheral and the central nervous systems. This is
Yeah.
why I never read stuff because I do better just talking. So
Yeah.
anyway, so cognitive support, that's what we're looking at. So
Right.
stimulating the lion's mane stimulates the natural or the nerve growth factor. It's a neuroprotective, so it protects the neurons from the damage or from age-related diseases. It's an anti-inflammatory, so it's modulating the inflammatory pathways. It's reducing neuroinflammation
Hmm.
and systemic inflammation. It's antioxidant powerhouse, and it also works with the gut-brain axis. So it's got a prebiotic polysaccharide in there, so it's the beta glucans, which we note here um, on the supplement facts there. So we're supporting beneficial gut bacteria, promoting microbiota gut and gut integrity, which then influences the brain health. So we know that the gut and the brain health are very much in tune together. And so you have a healthy gut, you have a much healthier brain access, thinking more clearly, mood, focus more clearly.
Right. Yeah, and I just
Yes.
pulled up here like the real lion's mane. I like that in this product, you're
Mm-hmm.
including the registered trademark
Yes.
of each of them, like the real reishi with the little R in the
Yes.
circle, the real lion's mane, and then we even have the Ergo Gold, which we'll cover soon. But
Mm-hmm.
for lion's mane, it's a really specific extract that we're using, which is equivalent to approximately 3 grams of dry lion's mane in 2 capsules here of the product, real lion's mane. So I just pulled that up here. It's a registered trademark owned by the company Namex
Yep.
that Stacy was just mentioning, and this organizes the production of organic mushroom extracts. This company does, and again, it's 100% organic fruiting bodies. It's not mycelium grown on grain in this case,
Right.
and it's an important thing to get this distinction because of the specific benefits you're looking for. Like you said, lion's mane is going to be hitting multiple areas of why someone might be having poor memory or poor focus. It could be they're too inflamed. It could be there's a problem with their nerves. It could be, many different, like their gut health. Lion's mane, even there's research showing lion's mane helps with
Yep.
gut health, the microbiome support, and we know that that's where health begins. There's a lot of new research coming out that we need a good, healthy microbiome and gut health to support memory and focus. So I like that you covered all the different angles that
Well,
lion's mane might be
you
helping.
know, another thing is I have clinical study in front of me here. So for mild cognitive impairment, so clinically proven cognitive benefits here. So double-blind placebo-controlled from 50 to 80-year-olds with mild cognitive impairment. So they've already had it. So this shows the results showed significant improvement in the cognitive function scores over 16 weeks with 3 grams, what you just mentioned, of lion's mane a day. And but one thing that was important that I noted, benefits decreased after stopping. So stopping after supplementation, suggesting continuous use is key.
Right.
So also another study on cognitive function, stress, and mood on in young people, young adults, double blind from 18 to 45-year-olds, given 1.8 grams of lion's mane for 28 days. They showed with the Stroop test, the point and click test, quicker performance on cognitive tests after just a single dose.
Hmm.
So that if that's not, crazy, just after a single dose, people are going to improve their focus. So trend towards improved speed of performance and reduce subjective stress after just 28 days.
Right. Interesting. So I want
Um,
to. That's
mhm.
fascinating. And then reishi mushroom, they call it the mushroom of immortality in traditional Chinese medicine, because it's so versatile with its health, but even especially for mental health, nerves, cognitive support, along with lion's mane. Tell us a little bit more about golden oyster mushroom. This one's not. It's not really on my radar. I don't know too much about golden oyster mushroom, but I
Well,
did pull
it's
up some
rich in,
pictures here.
yeah, it's rich in I can't say ergothioneine,
Uh huh.
which is a powerful antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and it's an amino acid that the oyster mushroom, the yellow oyster mushroom is rich in. So they call that the longevity vitamin. And so it protects cells from damage. It supports the brain and heart health. It boosts immunity. It shows promise for healthy aging by reducing oxidative stress, especially in tissues like the mitochondria and the skin. Um, so the oyster mushroom is rich in that. It does decline with age, ergothioneine. So it's good to take it into supplementation. So it's a potent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It's also a neuroprotector. It's good for cellular longevity, cardiovascular support, and immune health. So these three mushrooms, I mean, really amazing, rich in polyphenols, which again, polyphenols are act as antioxidants. Those are just from plant compounds. And so all of these are from plant compounds, these mushrooms, phytochemicals. And so polyphenol also can improve the gut health as well. So we're looking
Yeah.
at a lot of common denominators here that these mushrooms are attributing to creating healthier focus, improving mood, etc. So, what else did I write? So, the reishi is an adaptogen as well,
Yep.
an antioxidant and a liver protector. It decreases neurodegeneration. So, a lot of these also with the lion's mane, it's got something called haracinones and aracinines. So those are neuroprotectors and regenerators of the nerve cell, I mean the of the brain cells. Also, lion's mane is also high in ergothioneine. So again, common denominators, which is pretty fascinating to me. So a lot of this too, I also have we're looking at Alzheimer's disease, and there's the review of high quality human and animal studies for the prevention and delayed progression of Alzheimer's. Lion's mane was shown to with the haracinines, the haricinones,
Yeah.
demonstrated numerous improvements in Alzheimer's disease related behavior, biomarker parameters, histological features, and physiological mechanisms, while neuroprotective and neurotropic properties were also clearly established. So the true relevance and potential of the haracinones that is in the lion's mane for the therapeutic treatment and delayed progression of Alzheimer's has been revealed. So that was a quote from a journal.
Interesting.
Very interesting. So we're looking at cognitive decline, that this could really help with somebody. We're looking at cognitive impairment. We're looking at pre-Alzheimer's, pre-dementia. We're looking at support overall for um, the overall brain health.
Right. And I pulled up a couple things here. Like one of them is from the Fisher Center for Alzheimer's Research Foundation. Can mushrooms help your memory? So this has been studied in plenty of studies now, looking at mushrooms and brain health. You know, mild cognitive impairment (MCI). It's often a precursor to Alzheimer's disease, and there's studies from researchers in Singapore looking at, like, there's the golden oyster, the golden mushrooms that we just discussed here with Stacy, and they're just finding improvement, 43% reduced risk for developing MCI. Those who ate more than 2 portions of mushrooms a week had 52% reduced risk. So that's only one study. Plus, there's even other ones here. Like if I pull up this specific one on golden oyster mushrooms from Molecular Neurobiology, this was actually published this year. Well, at the time of
Yeah,
this recording, we're in
it
2025
leads to
December.
oxidative
But
stress.
yeah, this is brand new research here. Golden oyster mushroom extract ameliorates oxidative stress induced cell death in neurons, which is a common cause of brain loss. This is from China, this study. So definitely, this is all evidence based, research based on how
Yes, it is.
mushrooms can support memory and focus. So golden oyster is definitely new to me, so I'm going to be even looking more into that.
Yeah.
But
So
but
that's
yeah,
called Ergo Gold is the
yeah,
oyster mushroom patented like the real lion's mane and the real reishi. And the reishi is really rich in triterpenes, which and polysaccharides and sterols. So ergosterol. So those triterpenes are pretty interesting. Researching those are natural compounds. So huge anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, um, antiviral coming from fungi, triterpenes. So these things are very protective. The protective roles that the triterpenes offer, they protect naturally from the mushroom, protects against pests, but they're vital for our own cell membranes. Thought that was interesting. And then reishi also is an anti-amyloid, so brain plaque, right? It's anti-nerve. Uh, what is it? Fiber. What is that? Fibrillary. The NFTs are neurofibrillary tangles.
uh huh,
So, where did I write that down? Neurofibrillary tangles. So, the reishi is decreasing the amyloid plaque. Um, it's decreasing the neurofibrillary tangles, which is part of Alzheimer's disease. Okay. It's an anti-inflammatory, again, antioxidant and neuroprotector. So again, common denominator, protecting the brain cells. And something that I thought was fascinating doing this research, that the reishi is it's a choline sterase inhibitor. Okay, and so what that means is choline. It's choline, acetylcholine. Choline is what we talked about last week. So acetylcholine. So what it does as an inhibitor is the reishi binds to and inhibits the acetylcholine enzyme
right.
that quickly breaks down acetylcholine after it receives a signal. So by inhibiting and binding to the acetylcholine enzyme, what that does is that keeps the acetylcholine in the synapse longer. So you have
That
more longer improving focus and the memory. I thought that was fascinating.
that's wild. Yeah,
Acetyl a
and yeah,
cholinsterase inhibitor.
right, and that builds right on top of what we were saying in episode 259, which that's why I recommend people go and check that one out. And one thing I want to add, can I add something real quick, Stacey?
Yeah.
You mentioned the Ergo Gold. If we
Yeah.
look at the golden oyster mushroom here, you can see Ergo Gold here on the
Yeah.
YouTube screen. So I pulled that up through Namex, and again, you can see that that's a one-to-one extract of the golden oyster mushroom with consistent and verified levels of ergothioneine or ergothioneine in the matrix of a whole food mushroom. And then ergothioneine, we can look at how unique that molecule is. That you
As an
mentioned
amino
that
acid.
several
Yeah.
times. The amino acid, potent antioxidant, often called the longevity vitamin. It protects cells from oxidative stress. So mushrooms are really high in these ergothioneine, but some mushrooms are higher in it than other mushrooms. So then you're going to be supporting mitochondrial health, promise for anti-aging, skin, brain, and heart health. The highlight of today's episode is the brain, memory, and focus. So you can see it has so many diverse benefits, this ergothioneine, and they're using a specific extract to maximize its ergothioneine content. So this was super important. First time ever that we've discussed a mushroom memory and
Yeah.
focus health
Yeah, and
formula
it's
rich in beta glucans. So,
we could probably even dive so much deeper because it's got it it goes so deep.
oh
You
yeah,
know, I started going down the rabbit hole with every single ingredients that have these compounds in them. So the ergothioneine, the mushroom, one thing for your consumers is this is it's a functional food, okay? And so
right,
your body recognizes this as food right away. And so you can take this right when you wake up. So acetylcholine, like get your focus. Dopamine, get your feet on the floor. Acetylcholine, get you focus and get your list going. So you can take this on an empty tummy right when you wake up. And if you choose to get the vital choline, I take it with the vital choline. So that focus is really intense. And it's something that I really notice. So the beta glucans um, in the oyster mushroom, it's very, very rich. Antioxidants, prebiotics, flavonoids, carotenoids. It's very effective at mitigating oxidative stress. Um, and the oyster, the yellow or the golden oyster mushroom is really rich in amino acids and minerals. One thing too, because of the longevity vitamin that I see here, it does cross the blood-brain barrier, the golden oyster, the ergothioneine, okay? Um, prevents mitochondrial dysfunction, counteracts inflammation, again, a powerful antioxidant and anti-senescence. So
yep,
age, helping the uh, age-related signaling pathways. So impact on ergothioneine for cognitive decline and longevity. So the studies show a stepwise decline in ergothioneine levels correlated with increasing severity of cognitive impairment. So if somebody's already got mild cognitive impairment, the ergothioneine would be something that they really want to look into, or this whole
right.
complex, or this
Yeah,
whole formula.
catch it before it progresses to full blown Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah. So
So,
low plasma ergothioneine levels predict accelerated cognitive decline in cognitively normal individuals, suggesting it precedes impairment. So the neurodegeneration link is this: low ergothioneine predisposes to neurodegeneration and is associated with cerebrovascular disease and dementia. So the lowest ergothioneine concentrations found in dementia patients associated with white matter, hyperintensities, and brain atrophy. So this is where it takes me to this study. So estimated, this is why we're seeing this so much in the United States versus perhaps
right.
like Europe or Asian countries. Estimated ergothioneine consumption in Americas is only 1.1 milligrams a day compared to some European countries up to 4.6. And we said earlier the studies were looking at three, right?
Interesting.
Three
Yeah.
mgs. Um, up to four in Italy, coinciding with a higher prevalence of chronic neurological diseases of aging and lower life expectancies in the US. So we either need to eat a lot of mushrooms or we need to look at these patented concentrated um,
Right.
ingredients from Namex.
It's a good way to use technology to get something really potent and powerful. But that brings us to the end. It's amazing. We could spend, like you said, 3 hours
Wow,
just on these individual ones alone. Just on golden oyster mushroom, we can spend an
I
hour. So,
know.
uh, amazing episode. Thank you, Stacy, for doing this. This was our last recording
I
together of
know of
2025.
2025.
So again, folks, go check out 259 and this one 262. They build on each other. And emeraldlabs.com, emeraldlabs.com, the additive free company. I appreciate you as always, your consistency over the years. So thanks for coming on,
You're
Stacy,
welcome.
educating us. This is going to help people looking for memory, focus support, and just overall anti-aging support for the nerves and brain. So thank you, my dear, and we'll end it there for now. But I
All
appreciate
right.
your time.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.
Have a good weekend ahead.